Hello and welcome to another edition of Saints Live. I'm Steve Forbes, and today Southampton will be looking to make it back-to-back wins here at St Mary's, with Burnley the visitors here today. Now, you may notice there is an absentee alongside me in the form of Kenzie Benali, but not to worry, we have replaced her with two members of the Saints Live squad. We do have ex-Saints captain and all-round nice guy Dean Hammond, and we have the lead soccer writer for NBC Sports and probably the man with the most stylish living room in journalism, Joe Prince Wright. Gentlemen, are you well?
Very well, great to be here. Right, Dean?
I'm good, yeah, it's the nicest introduction I've ever had, so thank you, Stu.
Yeah, cheers, Steve.
Stuff. Great. Well, it's great to have you. Do make sure to get your comments in. We'll be putting them up across the screen, and I'll try to read as many out of those through the show as we can. Now, in just under 15 minutes time, we will get the team news. We know that James Ward-Prowse is serving the second match of his suspension. Shay Adams is back in contention though, so may feature at some point, and there's no other injury concerns, which is good news. So, Dean, we'll come to you first. If you were Ralph, are you going to change this winning squad, or are you going to stick with the one that beat Leeds?
Well, I think the performance was very, very good, Steve. It's a victory as well, which we've been looking for, the first of the season. Like I say, a very, very good performance. Players came into the team and made a real impact. It was a clean sheet. I think we limited Leeds to one shot on goal, one strike on target during the whole game. So it was very, very impressive. And if I was Ralph, I'd probably be inclined to go with the same team. Potentially Stuart Armstrong, I think, could be knocking on the door and looking for a recall. Maybe he could come into the left-hand side with instead of Gineppo. But Gineppo, again, had an impact on the game. So, yeah, interesting. But it just shows the quality in the squad, the depth in the squad, that there is options. But if I was a manager, I'd be inclined to go for the same team and look for back-to-back victories.
What about yourself, Joe? How do you think Saints are going to line up today?
Yeah, I agree with Dean, to be honest. I think the only way you'd really make changes is in the two number 10s behind the strikers. I really liked Broja up top centrally, and then Redmond, the way he buzzed around underneath him and caused lots of problems. So yeah, Armstrong for Gineppo, I think, would be maybe the change I would make. I don't know if you'd move Stuart Armstrong into one of the central positions, maybe for Diallo or Romeo to have a more attack-minded central midfield, but after their display last week, I don't know how you leave one or either of Diallo or Romeo out. They were exceptional. So back four looks settled. Up top, they've got some options, and I heard Ralph saying he would like to have 5 subs maybe in the Premier League moving forward. So he obviously has, I think, a good headache right now when it comes to selection issues, because there's a lot of players playing really well and really earning their place, which is what you need on the team. So yeah, not many changes. You can't really change a winning team too much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are going to look at some of the notable performances from last week, starting with Mohammed Salisu. The fans really rated his performance. Dean, what did you make of it?
I thought he was excellent. I think he's developing at a really, really good pace. I think the manager has been very good with him. He's helped his development since he's come into the football club. I think last week it was very evident, as we can see from the clips, that he was comfortable in possession, which is one thing that you could question previously. But he looked very, very composed. He looked very assured. You can see, look, he's driving from the back, which is, that is the modern day centre half. You want to be able to be progressive. And defensively, he looked very, very strong. We're going to see the blocks he made, the interceptions he made. So he was aggressive. He used his strength and his size very, very well against Leeds, and he was an outstanding performer, and I think he's getting better and better. And the one advantage he has, he's left-footed, so he gives that back four real balance. And I can't really remember any mistakes he made. There was one pass, maybe second half, we tried to play a diagonal, got cut out, and Daniel James almost scored. But apart from that, he was excellent. He read the game very, very well. He defended well. But like I say, one bonus was he was very, very effective on the ball and really helped Southampton in possession, whether he was going into midfield, whether he was trying that diagonal pass, or whether he was coming out himself. So an excellent performance by Salisu.
And another young Saint, Joe, Ibrahima Diallo, he came in to replace James Ward-Prowse. How do you think he coped?
Sensational. I think Ralph said it best in his press conference before the match. He just said that's not normal for him to come in and do that after being out for so long and waiting for his chance. Ward-Prowse is out. Diallo's grabbed it with both hands, and he wasn't just a number 6 or a holding midfielder. He really almost played as a number 8 at times, surging forward, and we saw that a lot. And Dean and I noticed it when he first played last season after he joined. He was great at the start, and then he kind of had an injury, a bit of dip in form, maybe lost his confidence like a lot of the players did in the team, but seems to regain that confidence now on the ball. And not only is he good at keeping it and plugging the defensive gaps, but when he does have it, he's not scared to surge forward. So I think it adds a new dimension to Saints' play. It links up midfield and attack, and Redmond and Broja were getting on the ball a lot. I think that had a lot to do with Diallo coming in and just, like I said, taking an opportunity, but then providing a link to the attack, which has probably been missing, and something Saints have really missed with the creativity there. So, yeah, you can't argue with his display, and he really did take his chance really, really well.
And one of the senior players who seemed to be pulling the strings in the absence of James Ward-Prowse was Nathan Redmond. Dean, you said you really rate his ability. How do you think he got on?
I thought he had a very, very good game, and I'm a big fan of Nathan. I really like him as a player. He's got outstanding ability on the ball. He can make things happen, and it's just that consistency with him. But I think last week, one thing I noticed as well, he was smiling a lot in the game. He had that kind of free role where he was kind of playing behind Broja, so he could come deep and get the ball, which means he could run with the ball, he'd have a bit more space. He could go wide, he could run in behind, he could link the play, and I thought he was very, very good. And all the good things that happened for Southampton last week came through Nathan Redmond. He had his pass for the goal and his run for the goal was brilliant. But it was his creativity and his imagination when he was getting the ball. He was playing balls around the corner. He was demanding it back, which we don't always see from Nathan. And he looked really, really fit. Like I say, he looked happy and he had an exceptional performance. And he was one of the reasons why Southampton performed so well and why they got the 3 points last week.
Now, there was just one goal in the game, Joe, from Armando Broja. Other than goals, what else does he bring to the team?
Steve, so much. I mean, he brings a presence, I think, aside from the goals and the assists and being dangerous. I think Leeds just wary of him the entire game. Where is he? Like, defenders are looking over their shoulders. Has he made a run in behind? Is he going to hold the ball up? Is he going to be good in the air? And he was all of those things. He really was the complete package against Leeds. And what I love about Broja is his confidence. I mean, you see it here when he makes the run. You just know he's going to get on the end of this, and he has the composure as well to finish it off. Just holds his run. He has a defender flying in, but keeps his eye on the ball. Great finish, and he just has that aura about him that, give me the ball, I'm going to put it in the back of the net. And as we said before, gives Saints a different dimension. He's holding the ball up. Redmond, Gineppo, Armstrong, Al-Yunusi, whoever else is underneath him, they can then combine and they can build from a position of strength and have the ball and keep it in the final third. So, yeah, exactly what Saints have been looking for in that area, and something very different. We said it before, reminds me of Graziano Pella at Saints, and Southampton really haven't had that kind of striker for a long time now. And it just gives Ralph a different option when he needs to mix it up, because I'd love to see him with Shea Adams and Adam Armstrong, and I think just really good options. So a talented young player. I know Chelsea fans in particular are really interested to see how he gets on, but Southampton fans, I think, you pretty much have a new fan's favourite here, especially if he keeps scoring big goals like that.
Yeah, so much potential in Broja. Dean, do you want to talk us through his goal? Because it's such a fantastic counter-attack.
It was brilliant. It really, really was. It started in Southampton's box really. Diallo made an exceptional tackle, which he'd done all game, and then Gineppo received the ball, and it was really, really good play from Gineppo. He gets in a one-on-one situation, shifts the ball, half a yard, and it's a brilliant pass. But the run from Nathan Redmond is exceptional as well. And the way Nathan Redmond, I think in his mind, is perfect for him, because he knows Broja's in the middle. He's just got to time it right. The weight of the pass has got to be right, and it was exceptional. The weight of pass was brilliant. He plays it with the outside of his foot and almost encourages the defender, thinking he can get there and make the tackle. And it's just a lovely set for Broja. And to be honest, for like Joe said, for a player at such a young age, he showed real maturity, because he didn't panic. He had a lot of time to think about that, and he just lifted it over the goalkeeper with power, which is a difficult skill. I've missed from many times from that position, if I ever got in that position. But it's a great finish, it really, really is. And it was a team goal, but the interception, the pass, the run, the movement, the patience, and the finish, brilliant goal, really, really was.
Now, one man to miss out last week who made way for Broja is Adam Armstrong, and Ralph was speaking to him about him in his press conference.
Where does the last week leave Adam Armstrong, Ralph? I'm thinking back to when Shea Adams first joined Saints, and he had 7 or 8 games, and then you took him out the firing line to rebuild him a bit, ready for the second half of the season. Is Adam Armstrong in a better position than that? And does he stay in your mind as an option every game at the moment? Does he need a confidence boost somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% convinced about the player, and we know that a start in the Premier League season is always a tough one. He had a good start with the first goal immediately, and then had also a few good games, missing the second goal, what he could score again in a few games, I think. I'm sure that he will make a lot of games, and we must be careful. We have a lot of options up front. We have to look who gets the right decision in the right moments, and that he can score goals. He shows in every session, and I think it will also not taking long until he scores his second in the league.
Armstrong. Now, Joe, was Adam unfortunate to be dropped to the bench for last week's game?
I think so. I think obviously got the goal on his debut for Saints against Everton. Great start to the season. Won a penalty away at Newcastle. Should have had another away at Man City, but we won't go there. And I think maybe he worked really hard with Che Adams, but I don't think they really got the service early in the season that maybe you'd think that they would get. Against Manchester United at home, he missed a big chance, and maybe his confidence just took a bit of a hit. But he worked so hard, and yeah, in a game against Burnley today where they're robust defenders, physical, maybe the weakness against deep defending teams is a little bit of space in behind and a little bit of flat-footedness defensively. He's that kind of player who can beat a man and get him behind. So yeah, hearing Ralph talk about him there, he obviously believes in him long term. And again, it reminds me of the Che Adams situation when he first came in and made the step up from the Championship. He needed 6 to 8 months to really get used to the Premier League, and then we really saw the true Che Adams. I think Adam Armstrong is a long-term investment from the club, but he definitely gives you a different option to Broja and Che Adams up top, and a really good option off the bench. So I don't think he's despondent. I don't think he's upset. It's probably what he would have expected, a little bit of a bedding in period when you make that step up to the Premier League, because it is a big step up.
And Dean, he obviously got his Saints career off to the perfect start with his goal against Everton on the opening day, but what have you made of Adam Armstrong in the team throughout the season?
I think he's done okay, Steve. You know, the goal away at Everton is Adams Armstrong. You know, it's a clear-cut opportunity, and like we're seeing, he showed real composure and a real instinctive finish from a natural goal scorer. He hasn't had that many chances. The service has not been fluent for him, really. You'd probably think the only other chance he had was at the Man United game, where you think potentially he could have done better. But he's had an impact. He really has. You know, like Joe said, the penalty he won away at Newcastle, the penalty he should have had at Man City, the touch he did provided for Che Adams' goal. I know it's an own goal, but the move for that, he's worked very, very hard, and he just needs time to adapt. And I'm really sure that if he gets opportunities, he will score, because he's a natural finisher. He works very hard for the team, and he's only 24. I think we've got to remember that. He's been bought for the club for many, many years, not only judged on this season. I think with the options that Ralph has up front, it's going to be chopping and changing all season with Che Adams, Armstrong, Broja, and I think there's a lot of quality in those three. So I wouldn't judge him too early, but I think it's been a really good signing. I think he will have a good season, and if he can get to double figures, I think that's a good outcome.
Now, we've got a couple of minutes to go until the team news is revealed today, but I just wanted to ask, how important is it to get back-to-back wins in the Premier League for Saints?
It's huge. I think it's something that they've obviously struggled with for a while now, so to get the confidence as a young team, a developing team, like Dean said, we forget how young Saints are a lot of the time. So to have that momentum going into a stretch of games, Watford, Norwich, Villa, no disrespect to those teams, but those are some games there you think that Saints really have to win a couple of those to get going. So Dean will tell you, confidence in football is so important, especially with young players.
Yeah, you echo that, Dean?
It is, yeah. I mean, getting back-to-back victories makes a huge difference. And like Joe says, for your confidence, for your belief, to really believe in that you're doing the right things and you can continue this form and these results. And obviously at the moment, with the stage we're in, the really important fixtures coming up. So getting back-to-back wins against teams that are going to potentially be around you in the league is really important as well. And I think this is an important period. We spoke about that before, but getting back-to-back wins just improves the atmosphere around the training ground. It gives you a little bit more energy, a little bit more belief, and confidence in football is magic. It really is.
Well, in the remaining seconds we've got until that team news comes in, we'll get some comments from you, the fans at home. John Parker says he's feeling quietly confident in getting another massive 3 points today. Adrian on Facebook said, we need another win today. Come on, you Reds. Robinho on Twitter says, feels like an important spell for Saints this. It's vital that we get another big result today. Carol Goddard on Facebook said, come on, you Reds. Adeshina on Twitter, she's watching from Nigeria. Hello. Also, Stephen Jones watching from British Columbia in Canada. Come on, you Saints. I've been there twice, actually, to Vancouver. It's a lovely place. And also, we have Sabri on Facebook who says, want to see more from Armando Broja today. What a player. And one last one from Jack Porter, who says, fingers crossed Redmond turns it on again for us today. Now, I think we can get the team news right now, so let's bring it to you. Here's Saints starting 11. In goal, we have Alex McCarthy. At right back, Tino Livramento. The other back four is made up of Mohammed Salisu, Bednarek's there, and Roman Perro too. Oriol Romeo is going to be our captain today in midfield alongside Ibrahima Diallo. Walcott is the new addition. He comes in for Moussa Djenepo on the wing. We also have Mohamed Elyounoussi there too, and then Nathan Redmond and Armando Broja make up the squad. And as for the subs bench, we've got Fraser Forster, Lianco's there, Carl Walker-Peters, Jan Valery, Stuart Armstrong, Moussa Djenepo, as we said, Nathan Teller, Shay Adams back in contention. He starts on the bench today, and Adam Armstrong too. So, Joe, what do you make of the lineup?
Pretty good, a bit unexpected. I don't think many of us would have had Theo Walcott coming back into the starting lineup. Maybe Stuart Armstrong or someone else, Shay Adams starting up top and switching things around. But yeah, interesting. Obviously, Theo Walcott and Moussa Djenepo are very similar players in a lot of ways, direct, like to run at the defenders. And then maybe it just points to Burnley's experience, and they got a lot of experienced campaigners, especially in defence. So having someone like Theo Walcott there just to use his nous and direct a lot of these young players in the attacking third, maybe that's a reason for it. But yeah, Theo's kind of the forgotten man at the moment. Obviously had an injury, was in the starting lineup at the start of the season, but he's been given an opportunity and really intrigued to see how he takes it. But the rest of the team, back four, and Romeo and Diallo, it just picks itself at the moment. They're that good. And now Elyounoussi, and I love that Broja and Redmond are up top again. It's a chance for them to continue that partnership that looks really, really good against Leeds United.
Yeah. Hopefully we can hear you over Tim, the PA announcer here at St Mary's. Dean, yeah, Theo Walcott, the only change there. Are you surprised, or are you happy with the squad?
Happy with the team. Like we spoke before, I think that the team kind of picked itself today because of the performance last week. Yeah, Theo Walcott coming into the team is a surprise. Not that Theo Walcott's not a quality player and has not had a brilliant career, because he has, and he's a legend at Southampton, came through the academy. But I don't think he's been his best form this season. I think he would probably expect more from himself and hasn't been as effective as he possibly wanted. But maybe that's why the manager's putting him into the team, because he knows he can bring that to the team and he can have an effect. But maybe Stuart Armstrong is not quite ready yet. Maybe Djenepo is carrying a slight injury. Maybe he wants to bring him in and out of the team because he's still developing as well. But like Joe said, it's a very, very strong team. It's an attack-minded team. I expect Southampton to take the game to Burnley today. It will be a different game than the Leeds game, but I'm excited, and I'm very, very happy that Broja's got another opportunity after scoring, and Nathan Redmond almost got that free role to go and express himself, because I think, like I said, that's where he's at his best. When you take him off the leash, you say, right, go and play, go and make things happen. I think that's when you get the best out of him.
Well, Joe, let's stick to talking about the wingers for just a second. Obviously, we know Theo Walcott in over Djenepo, but also Moye Elyounoussi is going to be out on the wide areas for Southampton as well. What are the pros and cons that both of those bring to the team?
Well, I think Elyounoussi, Ralph's spoken about it a lot. He's taken his game to a whole new level. I think physically now he's a much stronger and better player after his loan spells at Celtic. But he kind of knits together midfield and attack and has that understanding of when to pop into the spaces and hold on to the ball, maybe draw a foul, and just has that savvy and, like I said, a bit of nous, which is really, really good. And obviously he's playing well for Norway, scoring goals, and has really taken his opportunity back at Southampton. So I think for him and Stuart Armstrong are probably battling for the same spot as a creative number 10. But then you need someone like Theo, someone like Djenepo, who is going to stretch and join the attack with Redmond and Broja, who can kind of just mix things up a little bit as well. So you almost add an extra winger, and then Elyounoussi or Stuart Armstrong, whoever starts in that other number 10, their creativity, they like to drift inside and almost have three central midfielders at times. So yeah, it gives Saints extra tactical flexibility, and hats off to Elyounoussi, because he's really taken his chance with both hands, looks fit and strong. And yeah, I think Saints obviously had huge hopes for him. Hasn't quite worked out to start with, gone away to Celtic for a few years, and he's been brilliant. Really, really underrated player, and I fancy him to score a goal today. I'm just going to go out and say it. I really fancy him to get on the score sheet.
All right, I'll hold you to that, Joe.
Okay.
Dean, here's a stat for you that the research team got. Southampton have been caught offside the least number of times this season, just 4 times caught offside, whilst Burnley have been caught offside the most with 25. So it's a bit of an odd one, but does that say anything about Burnley's direct style of play?
It could do, Steve. It could do with the fact that Chris Wood plays up front. I've played with Chris Wood before, and he's a little bit lazy and likes to be offside and take that chance to see if he can get in. And 9 times out of 10 he is offside, but one time he will get in. But yeah, you're right. Burnley are a direct team, but an effective direct. It's not long ball. They just like to get the ball forward, get the knockdowns, and then play in the opposition half. And they've got some good players, and I know they haven't won this season, and Sean Dyche will be very, very disappointed with that. But I watched them against Leicester, and they should have won that game. It was a 2-2 draw, and actually Chris Wood had a goal disallowed in the last minute because he was offside. But they're a decent team, Burnley, and they're an experienced Premier League team. So I expect this to be a test today, but they will put balls in the box. They will get in behind the Southampton defence to put crosses in the box. They will pick up second balls. So Southampton are not going to have it all their own way today, and they're going to have to work as hard, or if not even harder, than they did against Leeds. And I think this will be a very competitive game today.
There's a few familiar faces or names in the Burnley side. Firstly, Jay Rodriguez, he's starting on the bench today. What are your memories of him, Joe?
Brilliant player, first of all. But I have to say, I had a meal out in Southampton a few years ago, and he sat on the table behind me with his friends and family, and just a lovely bloke. He was laughing and joking, and it comes across in real life as he does out on the pitch when he's scoring goals and putting in great displays. But yeah, I mean, in that team under Pochettino with Lallana and Lambert up front, that was the perfect real trio, the combination of creativity, clinical finishing and direct running. And I always kind of class J-Rod as maybe a 9.5. I know he's wearing the number 9 in these jerseys here, but he's not really a central striker, not really a traditional winger either. He just flitted in between, and the quality of some of these goals we're seeing here, and the bravery as well. I think that's what Saints fans love, that he will run through a brick wall for you. And if it wasn't for his injury, I know a lot of people go back to that injury against Man City that really stopped him from going to the 2014 World Cup, because he would have been in that squad under Roy Hodgson, and that was maybe just the bad luck that some players get in their career. But there's no doubt amazing to see him back to full fitness after that, do well with Saints, and then at West Brom, and now at his hometown team Burnley, still playing, still scoring goals. And I know he's going to get a great reception here at Southampton, because Saints fans hold him in very high regard. And yeah, lovely bloke and great player too.
Good stuff. Well, Jack Cork's another one. He's starting for Burnley today. Dean, you've spoken about him before. Just how good was he on and off the pitch?
Exceptional, really was, and a very, very good player, a very humble guy as well. Very, very friendly. Came into the dressing room. I think when he signed it, he knew a lot of the players, so he settled in very, very quickly. But, you know, a very good midfield player, very fit, could get up and around the pitch. I think he's underappreciated on the ball. Jack's an intelligent footballer. He does the basics very, very well, which is important for a central midfield player. He still looks the same now as he did when he was younger. You know, he still is fit, loves a tackle, and scores, you know, some goals, some important goals. So he's had a brilliant career, Jack. He really, really has. And like Joe said, with Jay, he'll be appreciated when he comes back today and when he's playing. I believe he's starting today. So, you know, a good midfield player that can kind of do everything, really. And always didn't get the credit that he got, but I knew what a good player he was because he used to take my place most of the time. So, you know, him and Morgenstein had a really good partnership together. You know, played in the Olympics as well. So they had a great career, and he's a nice guy, really is.
Good. Well, we spoke about the importance of back-to-back wins, but just focusing on the 3 points today, how important is that going to be, Joe, to put distance between Saints and the bottom 3?
It is. It's going to be massive, because Burnley obviously haven't had a win yet. They're struggling for form and confidence, even though they have played pretty well in some games. But yeah, to build the momentum from that Leeds game, like Dean said, it's going to be a totally different game today. I don't think Burnley will give you as many chances as Leeds did, at least initially. But I think in the second half of this game, if it is level, then Burnley chasing that win, and they've obviously had a really bad run dating back to last season, they might start to get a bit desperate, and I think they will see this as a game that they can win as well, which probably helps Saints, and Burnley will come out of their shell a little bit, attack. And I spoke to Dwight McNeil earlier this season in my role with NBC, and he was a bit disappointed with just the creativity and the clinical edge in the final third. He thought they'd been playing well, and much like Saints early in the season, hadn't got the points or the results that they deserved. So if they can get that clinical edge, they're going to be dangerous. But it is really important for Saints to give themselves a bit of breathing space now. And as well as they played early in the season against City, United, Chelsea and others, this next batch of games, Villa, Watford, Norwich, Burnley here today, you need to get at least a couple of wins from that to give yourself a nice cushion headed into a busy festive period, which is just around the corner. So massive for Saints to kind of set their stall out and say we want to be pushing for the top 10 rather than looking over our shoulders towards the relegation zone.
Great stuff. Well, before we wrap things up and get your score predictions in a sec, chaps, we'll get some more comments from you, the fans at home. First up, we have Christian McKee, who said, clearly the better squad. Today's game is a must-win. Also, Matt Gardner on Facebook says it's a strong side, 3 points, hopefully inbound today. Kean on Twitter has said he's expecting a Broja hat-trick coming soon. All right. And also David Bowman says, Broja in again, he loves to see it. And then finally, Ant James, match day excitement is finally kicking in. 3 points today would really build some goodwill. It certainly would. Now, to wrap things up, Dean, let's come to you first. What are you expecting from today? And let's get your score prediction.
I think it'll be a tough game. I really, really do. I think, like Joe mentioned, I think Burnley will look at this fixture and think, we need a result today. We need to win, and they probably have identified this fixture as a potential 3 points. Southampton, full of confidence, good performance, and it would be brilliant to see, you know, not only back-to-back wins, but back-to-back home wins. Back-to-back clean sheets would be brilliant, but I think it's going to be competitive. I think it'll be close. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Southampton win. 1-0
again. Joe, do you think it's going to be close?
It is. I bumped into Dean walking here outside the stadium. We had a good chat about our predictions.
So you've already conferred they're not going to be the same?
But they're not going to be the same. But I'm going to go with 2-1 to Southampton, I think. But been sitting on the fence a lot when I've been joining you guys and saying draws, and it's going to be really tight and really tough. I mean, Saints outran Leeds United in the last game, which it doesn't happen often. It shows how much the team is working hard, how dedicated this young squad is. They need to be more dedicated today, as Dean mentioned. Yeah, so 2-1 to Saints. Positive vibes up here, and hopefully on the pitch behind us in a few minutes' time.
Fantastic stuff. Well, thank you both so much for joining us on Saints Live. Now, can Southampton make it 2 wins on the bounce, or will Burnley end their 11-game winless run here at St Mary's? Either way, all three of us will be back after the game for post-match reaction and analysis on the final whistle. So do enjoy the match, and we'll see you then.